What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Third and Very Long. I'm with my co-host today, Tyler. Tyler, man, it's been a really rough last 3 weeks since we last met.
Well, it's been pretty rough this whole entire year.
I won my bet again on Sunday. I took
Oh.
the 19.5 the Chiefs were giving the Jets.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you did. I'm hoping everybody did in this situation. But, I mean, it's been a rough couple weeks. I feel like I start the show off every time with that. But it's the truth. I mean, it's been a blowout couple weeks, and the Jets are not improving. And that's for sure.
Yeah, I noticed a lot in the last 3 games. The Dolphins game was rough. We put up a fat donut on the board.
Yeah. I think we'll probably just skip over that and not talk about the
And,
Dolphins
and
game.
then the Bills game, we looked good in the first half, and then we only got 4 total yards in the second half.
Yeah, but that's the story. I mean, it seems like the Jets are coming out with a little more intensity, a little more passion, I guess you should say, and they're coming out a little smarter, I should say. But you know that correlates to Dole Loggins getting the play calling. 3 weeks ago, Adam Gase gave up the play calling and said, "Here, Dole, figure it out. Hopefully, maybe you."
He should have given up 3 years ago too.
3 years ago too. Exactly. True. But the fact is Dole Loggins came in, and it seemed like he had a little bit more of a grasp on the team and what they needed to do. You saw maybe even in the offensive calling, you saw him maybe open the playbook a little bit more. You saw the Jets actually have some not much production, minor production, which is a huge step up from what Adam Gase was.
Mm-hmm.
So you're seeing guys like Perrine and Mims, like these are your guys, like they're balling in the first half, but then they're getting completely sucked down in the first half. Have you noticed that with Mims and Perrine?
I noticed there. I don't know. I'm kind of getting frustrated because we're 0-8, and a lot of these rookies are getting their minutes cut by veterans who are near the end. Like I don't know Frank Gore. He's in the Fountain of Youth every Sunday, but like his yards per yards per carry is better than Gore's. I think in less carries Gore has like 90 something carries right now. Perrine has 41. Perrine has half the yards that Gore has already. I would like to see Perrine get the bulk of the work from just the backfield, because I feel like if the Jets want to build a foundation, they need to start off right with what they have with Perrine and Mims, because Mims didn't look bad. He only got targeted 10 times these last weeks.
2-3 weeks. He hasn't been getting the ball. But when the ball is thrown to him, you see him make plays.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think Mims is a good. I think I like Mims a lot. I think he's going to be a good receiver. Don't get me wrong. I just think they need to just say hell with it and throw the ball to him, even if he's covered. He's 6'4". He's there for a reason. You drafted him because you fell in love with his talent.
Exactly.
Let him become a playmaker. Let him learn from his mistakes. Let him learn what to do in man-to-man situations when it's a tight ball and they have to try to break away from coverage without getting offensive interference.
Yeah, pass interference. So I mean, no, I understand what you're saying. Let the kid play. Let the kid ball. I mean, you see, it seems like the Jets' offense once again is crippling him of what he can do. He went to Baylor to be that spectacular catch. He was that guy at Baylor, being that spectacular catch. And you saw it in the Chiefs game, the first half of the Chiefs game. He was that guy that went up and got the ball. But other than that, if you are not having the ball thrown to you, you can't make a good catch. You can't even catch the ball because it's not coming towards you. And they're really strangling Mims from that next step that he could potentially take and that we think he's going to take. And back to the Perrine point, Frank Gore should be first down and first down only. You know what I'm saying? There's no reason to have Frank Gore in on a third down.
Unless you want to run it in between the numbers, because Perrine's more of an outside guy because he has he has fresher legs.
If it's 3rd and inches, of course Frank Gore is in there. But I'm sorry, from 2nd and 3rd down, Perrine should be in there, whether it's a run or not. That's the type of, he can get outside, he can make plays in the pass game. Why is Frank Gore running a wheel route? There's no reason for that when you have Perrine and even guys like Cannon. Like, those guys are there to run those routes. That's not Frank Gore's game. So you see, like, Dole Loggins starting to maybe implement Perrine a little bit more. Like you said, like, this is the most we've seen of him ever since Dole got the playbook.
Yeah.
You've seen Perrine, but still, that second half absence is really, really, really hurting me, and I'm sure it's hurting you to see that, because
he's my boy from Florida. Of course it kills me on the inside. I love him. I loved him since he was a Gator. I love him now. I think he's going to be a great halfback. I just think Gase needs to let the monster out of the cage and let him run mad.
For me, it's like one of those things is like, say he does get the ball 12 times a game, 15 times a game, and he doesn't have a good week, you're letting the kid learn. He has to learn. Just like you said about Mims. Just throw him the ball. Even if he's in one-on-one coverage, throw him the ball. This is the time to figure out if those guys can ball. So let them at least attempt to ball. You know? I feel like the Jets are kind of holding that back from them. But it's the fact is that the adjustment game is becoming a problem for the New York Jets.
Yeah.
The adjustment game is, one, hurting guys like Perrine and Mims because for some reason they can't get the coaching staff cannot get them into open space or get them the ball in the second half because of these adjustments. I mean, the fact is that, like, Adam Gase, we talk about as maybe he's not that smart of a guy, smart of a football guy. This shows it, because if you watch the Bills game specifically, I felt like they had an okay half offensively. The first half, I thought it was actually pretty good. The defense let up some stuff. We'll talk about that in a bit. But their offense was doing okay. They came out at half, and how many yards do we have? 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had 4 yards in the second half. That's because Sean McDermott literally outsmarted, outcoached, out-intelligent, whatever you want to say, an adjustment game, and literally shut them down completely.
Yeah, he like 200 IQ'd us. 200
IQ'd us, put us into the ground 4 yards. That's so unacceptable, and that just shows that, like, you just got simply outcoached.
They won on field goals.
They won on field goals. But we're not going to talk about field goals. The Jets that's our best stat right now. It's field goals, right?
Yeah. We've been outscored 77-19 the last 3 games. Only one of those scoring drives being touchdowns, the other 4 being field goals.
Field goals and
one extra point.
Yeah, 1 extra point. But I mean, but you can't really, like, say anything about, like, the first half or the second half or anything like that. But when we talk about adjustments and stuff, like, no one's making adjustments to, like, hey, maybe we should go for it on fourth down in our own territory. Maybe we should. It doesn't seem like Dole Loggins really has a grip on that. I mean, to be fair, this guy was a quarterback coach his whole life, or he was just an assistant his whole life, and now he's the offensive coordinator. I mean, he was the offensive coordinator with Miami, but now he's the offensive coordinator here. But, like, realistically, this guy's not. He doesn't really exactly know what's going on. But you need guys like Adam Gase, who's been around. Guys like Greg Williams, who's been around. They know the adjustment games. Mm-hmm. But they're so bad at it still.
Yeah, I don't know.
We knew Adam Gase was bad at it. But Greg Williams, who's been pretty much like a pretty solid defensive coordinator.
Yeah, he was with the Saints, with Adam Gase, he was with the Browns.
Yeah, but he knows what it is. He knows that he has to make adjustments. And, like, for some reason, like, the Chiefs game, I could have swore on every single play, Mahomes was just, oh, he's wide open. I guess I'll throw it to him. He's wide open. Oh, Tyreek's going down the field. Let's just throw it.
He could have broke the single game touchdown record if they didn't take him out.
Yeah, if they didn't take him out. He seriously, like, it was like chump change. Well, we thought that's what was going to happen, realistically. I didn't think it was going to be that bad. I mean, every time the ball went to Travis Kelce's hands, which it went in a lot, he was wide open to the point where, like, I could have been back there just toss it up to Travis. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's Greg Williams. I mean, do you see anything with Greg Williams right now that's, like, bothering you a little bit?
We talked about with the rookies on the offensive side of the ball. I think if you want to build a foundation from the ground up, you have to start with this draft class, and they have a lot of defensive rookies on the other side of the ball that no one's really talking about. They have Lamar Jackson, of course, at corner, who I have seen him getting more and more attention recently. And Ashton Davis, realistically, we're not re-signing Bradley McDougall. He's going to be starting opposite of Marcus May come 2021. He made a mistake one game where he blew a coverage or with the tackle. I forget what it was exactly, and he has to make those kind of plays in order to get better. And if you're gonna like take those reps, those important reps from these young players you're trying to develop a foundation with, they're not gonna develop quicker. You're just gonna like it's like you're just gonna shoot yourself in the foot.
Exactly.
So like I think Ashton Davis will be a great safety.
I think
phenomenal.
He can too.
I think Bryce Huff is a good defensive end we have. I don't know why Henry Anderson's still starting.
I think Huff's more of a
he's more of an outside guy, but they have him taking reps at end because they're trying to build him up.
Okay.
And my guy Sanuga, who's an outside linebacker, he's been solid.
He got his first nod this weekend. I mean, he didn't really make too big of a splash, but I didn't look at it and be like, oh, he blew that. You know, there's some times where I was like, ooh, Ashton Davis really kind of blew that a little bit.
There's probably Jet fans who don't even know who that was. No. They had no idea who 92 was stepping on the field for the first time. They're like, who the hell is that? I can't pronounce his name. I still can't pronounce it. He went to Florida. But, like, that's the thing. Like, okay, it was his first game against the best offense in the NFL. Probably going to be in history, realistically, looking down the line. And he had a rough start. The Chiefs have two really good tackles.
True. They do. Arguably, they have two of the best tackles in football. But, I mean, Ashton Davis, where I think he needs to improve on is in the run game. I noticed it's like it's tough. I mean, he's a smaller guy. It's his first his third start because McDougal went out, so this was his second or third start, whatever. So think about it. This is a guy's third. He was not supposed to come in here and start. That was never his role. He came in here, and I did mention he was okay, but it's something to build on. You know, when someone gets run past, when someone like I saw. Was it Clyde Edwards-Helaire? Or it was Mecole Hardman ran by him, which is fair because Mecole Hardman would run by a bus or a cheetah. But he got, like, the way he reacted to it made me feel a little bit better about himself. He was genuinely upset with himself. He knew what he did wrong, and he immediately, it seemed to me that he was trying to fix it. So out of a rookie, you see stuff like that, that's really key. Because Mecole Hardman literally ran by him. He made a terrible angle tackle, and it just blew right by him. And you could see, like, he got up, like, hand and fist, like, yelling at himself, like, this is not who he is. And he knows that. So that's a really good sign to see out of the rookies.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we really got to get these rookies reps, man. It really hurts me to see that these rookies are not getting that many reps.
And, like, teams, I kind of saw Joe Douglas's philosophy on how to build a team, and I agree with it to a huge extent. He wants to build a foundation first for the draft, and that's a smart thing for any successful franchise that you've seen throughout the years. And in order to do that, you have to demolish.
You have to.
And of course, if you notice, a lot of players you got rid of, it's ironic, I know, but they're from McGagnon.
Yeah, I mean, out with the old and with the new. I mean, for him, we saw 3 trades happen this past week or so with the Jets. Steve McClendon, who literally, if you think about it, this guy was a good leader, but what is he doing in the New York Jets locker room? He's doing nothing. He's gonna be there. He's an amazing run stuffer. And he's a good leader. But the fact is, the Jets don't need that right now.
Yeah, that's not the Buccaneers got a really good role player.
Really good role player. We got a 6th-round pick out of it. Okay, guess what? I'm okay with that. Then you got Willis, who went to the 49ers. We got a 6th-round pick out of that. He's 25. I don't think maybe he's dressed up for a handful of games for the Jets.
In Madden, he becomes really good, so I have high hopes on Willis. Don't.
But Willis,
he has star potential right now in my franchise, and I will not let you.
But the fact is he actually did play for the 49ers last week. He got a couple snaps and didn't do anything. But that's the type of thing where next year he's gonna walk. Next year McClendon's gonna walk. Like, they're not gonna be on this team, so why not get a pick out of it? The only trade I wish Joe did a little bit better on was Avery Williamson. Avery Williamson is, I think he's top 15 in total tackles in the whole NFL, and he's a starting middle linebacker that is arguably like one of the better ones in the NFL, and they just got rid of him for a fifth, which that kind of upset me. But at the same time, it's like, what is Williamson going to do? Really? Next year, he probably won't play because we got Cashman. We got all these younger middle linebackers coming up to play with CJ. Like, Avery probably wouldn't get much playing time next year. He probably would get cut, which we thought he might have gotten cut this past
Honestly,
season.
if CJ Mosley was playing this year, I wouldn't be surprised if Joe... Oh, wait, no. CJ got brought in by... No.
CJ was brought in by McCagnon.
And he has a hefty contract.
He has a hefty contract, but Joe looks at CJ a little differently.
Well, yeah, CJ has produced tremendously last year when he played.
Yeah, and he's not, and CJ's always been a humble, like, not a problem guy. That's the thing. These guys like Jamal was a problem. He would love to keep Jamal. Why do you think, like, Sam, like, there's no depiction on Sam? Like, Sam was a McCagnon pick, but he knows Sam is a good guy. Like, there's no reason to even have speculation for Sam, you know? Yeah. As much as the media puts speculation, the number one pick, Trevor Lawrence. Joe doesn't have any speculation on Sam. He knows Sam as a person, and he knows that he has to get talent around Sam for Sam to flourish.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. Because if they pull the trigger on Trevor Lawrence, the same thing is going to happen again with just a better quarterback prospect.
That's a better prospect. That's the thing. It's a better prospect. The thing is you could put Sam and Trevor right in both my hands, and we will still, to this day, we have no idea what we can do. But what I think is that if we do have the first pick in the NFL draft, I think we have to go with Trevor Lawrence. And the only reason I say that is because this kid, he's an amazing talent. We know that, right? Mm-hmm. So right now, basically, we are comparing Sam and Trevor. We know that Trevor is an amazing talent. We know that Sam's an amazing talent. But what we don't see from Sam, but what we see from Trevor Lawrence is Trevor Lawrence carries the entire weight of college football on his shoulders right now, if you think about it. Or for the past, 3 years, he has shouldered all of college football, and he's been the face of college football, and there's not been a problem, there hasn't been a peep, there hasn't been anything from Trevor Lawrence or his camp about anything being wrong ever. And he sits there, he takes it, anything that happens, he runs with it. He's an amazing talent. He seems to be a pretty good guy. Generational is the word. You can't pass that up with the number one pick.
No, you really can't.
You can't.
And that if we end up at number one and we got Trevor Lawrence, I totally understand what they were doing, because again, when you're building a team from the foundation up, you have to get a quarterback that you want, that you are drafting. They didn't draft Darnold. They have no emotional attachment to Darnold. They know they like him. He's a good guy. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. But when you have probably the best quarterback prospects in God knows how long, and you like the potential to have the number one pick right now is phenomenal.
Yeah, I genuinely don't think that if we were to get if the number one pick was on the table for Trevor, and they were like, oh, I don't know, Sam or Trevor, I don't think. People are like, oh, the mega package, the mega package, the mega package. I don't think the mega package is as big as people think it is.
I don't think so either.
I mean, are the Jaguars going to give up the next 5 picks and then they're off? You know what I'm saying? So, for the Jets, so scenarios, Jets go 0-16, Jets have the number one pick. Who's calling? Let's say it's the Jaguars, it's who else?
Jaguars, let's say Giants.
The Giants. What do these teams have to give up that's worth?
Giants could probably try to entice us with Ingram, because I know they have issues with him, and then a couple first rounds.
That's not gonna see. Those are the type of things that are not gonna cut it. But when you look at maybe, let's see, maybe the Lions might think about it. What do the Lions have to give? That's enough capital for Joe Douglas to say, I'm going to give up this generational talent because Sam is still really good, and I think Sam is really good. But what are you giving my team in compensation for that generational talent?
It would have to include Galladay for sure.
But Galladay's, isn't he a walk after this season?
He is, but free agency ended 2 hours and 48 minutes ago.
Basically.
Yeah.
But that's
our trade deadline. Trade deadline,
yeah,
not free agency.
Deadline. The trade deadline, but I really think the fact is if it's right in front of your face, and Joe Douglas came on actually today and did a interview with a bunch of the media and stuff, and he was talking about how
he regrets the Robbie Anderson outcome.
Thing. But he talks about like Sam a little bit, and it's like he likes Sam a lot. So it's not like oh, Trevor or Sam. It's like Trevor and what comes around with it, or Sam and what comes around with it. So if you do Trevor, who knows? You probably get a couple picks for Sam, right? Whether it be a second or a third, whatever it is.
You could honestly, I've heard Mel Kiper and a bunch of other analysts talk about a team that has a aging
like the
Steelers, or like the Saints.
The Steelers should give up their first round pick 100% for Sam Darnold. If they
take it.
100%. I don't think they will, because they know the Jets' situation. Remember, it's all situational. So if the Jets don't have the first round pick, then Sam Darnold, the value, everything changes. So I mean, we'll see. The Trevor Lawrence section, it gets me pretty pumped up, but there's a lot other pieces the Jets need and a lot other holes to fill. So you say you draft Trevor and you trade Sam for a pick or two.
Mm-hmm.
You still have all your other picks, but say you don't draft Trevor, you get the huge haul. What is it? 3 first round picks, a player or two. That's what you think is that gonna fill your holes? Are you filling holes with other people's players, or do you want to fill your holes with your picks and your players? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it gets a little dicey, but I mean, this draft and this offseason coming up is really exciting to me. So why put all your marbles in one basket? I mean, I know they're not putting all their marbles in one basket, but why subject yourself to one of that? Because I know this offseason, I know you've been looking into the offseason a lot lately, but it's true.
It's like Christmas.
It is.
You never know what you're going to get. And when you
or week 8. And
you can only give a wish list, and then it never comes true, ever.
Usually you get one thing off the wish list. So hopefully that one thing can be a wide receiver.
It's like one thing you didn't even ask for. Like one Christmas, my mom got me a watch, and I asked for a watch, and I was like, wow, this is a nice watch.
You're okay, crazy,
thank
right?
you. Yeah, thank you. Wow, I'll take it.
Yeah, but we've been asking for a pass rusher for, I don't know, my whole life, and I've never seen one. So I guess that's the thing that keeps walking away.
So I was looking at the free agency. I didn't look into what we could trade for, because that's just way too much work than I need to be putting in right now, because the trade deadline, I don't want to think about it. But yeah, I was looking at, for free agency, I was mainly focused in Baltimore.
Okay.
They have 2 pass rushers that are both free agents this year. They have Tyus Bowser, who underperformed the last 3.5 years, but he shows that he's a power rusher and a run stopper at left end. Okay. He was a second-round pick in 2017. He only has 10.5 sacks throughout the 3.5 years at this point. Taking a gamble on Bowser could be a good thing. And then the other free agent that from the Ravens that they just acquired, Yannick Ngakoue, he's going to be a free agent this year. This is his 3rd team in 8 months.
Literally, yeah, probably 3 months realistically.
Yeah, realistically, probably 3 or 4 months. Yeah. So
but I really like him.
Yeah,
we talked about him.
They're both going to be the same age. They're both going to be 26, so they still have their prime years as pass rushers in front of them.
What I like about the Tyus Bowser thing is that we can really get him for probably on the cheap
pennies.
Pennies, yeah, pennies. Kind of remember we brought in Peanut this year from the Ravens. Something similar to that, where we're going to give this guy another chance. You know, he was a where did he go to college? I forgot where he went to college, but he was pretty good in college. I remember him coming out, and he has that he's like a prototype outside linebacker, and that's the type of stuff. I mean, Yannick is gonna cost, I think, no matter which way about it. I mean,
that's the expensive option, but that's the more guaranteed production option.
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm pretty sure Yannick has like 5 sacks in like 6 games or something like that. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah, and I also was looking at potential prospects in this year's draft. Potentially, if he falls to the third, maybe he's a second round pick. Looking at him, Quincy Roche, he's an edge rusher out of Miami.
Oh, out of Miami. Yeah.
He is considered the third best edge rusher in this year's draft class. He's 6'4", 235 pounds, and has developed year in and year out throughout college. He started off in 2017 in Temple. His first year in 2017, he was a redshirt. So he had 7 sacks, then went to 6. Then his last year in Temple in 2019, he had 19 tackles for a loss, 49 total tackles. And so far at Miami this year, he's had 2.5 sacks, 9.5 tackles for a loss, and 25 total. I think he's a good edge rusher. I think he's more of a speed rusher type that can really get there quick. Would really be good to line up opposite, because I know our right outside linebackers usually like a run stuff or power rush, go hit you in the mouth and try to get you in the backfield kind of guy. So they kind of get that speed coming off the edge might help our interior guys a lot, because the line would have to adjust more to stop the guy who's flying by. So we'll see how Quincy Roche does. He's an athlete. He's an athlete, yeah. His stock can soar to first round depending how he does the rest of the year at Miami, plus the combine and everything. But
so he's one of those guys that you think could be a mid-round stud to an early round beast athlete type guy.
I think he can be kind of like a mid to late round. I don't think early. I think mid to late is his like
ceiling. Okay, cool.
Ceiling.
I like that. That's the type. I mean, listen, how many mid round picks did we just say? I said 3, 2 6th and a 5th. You know, if we can get the star-studded outside freaking rusher from that would make my life.
Yeah, he's right now. I think he's projected to go in the late second round to the Falcons.
Oh, in so some
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I saw him in a lot of mocks popping up. But staying on the defensive side of the ball, I know cornerback has been a disaster this year. And Island and Misfit Colts aren't working out.
I would say that Bless is okay.
I like Bless.
Bless is the only one with a ceiling, really.
Yeah, and this year there's 2 free agents that came to mind. Kevin King from the Packers. I don't know what their financial situation is looking like.
What is their financial situation every year? They don't pay anybody. That's how the Packers roll. Remember, they're public.
Okay, yeah, so, true.
That could be big. I like that.
So depending on how that works out, he's a 6'3", and he was a second round pick coming out of college. He has the ability to cover number 1 receivers. He does put up a good fight. I think he topped off with 5 interceptions last year, and
you gotta remember he's alongside Jair Alexander. So
I know. Like, that's why I don't think he's gonna get paid that much, because I don't know how many years Alexander has left, but they need to start. They need to start clearing the books for him, because he's going to be a lot of money.
That you couldn't have said that any better. They really do need to start clearing the books for him, because that dude's a freaking talent.
Yeah, and then if the Packers do end up re-signing their number 2 corner, King, there's another King I have in mind, Desmond King. He's with the Chargers.
Well, he just got traded to the Titans.
Oh, he did?
This week, Desmond King got traded to the Titans this week for a 6th round pick. Yeah, so.
Well, I don't think he's going to be. Desmond King's a really good corner. I like him.
And he's young. He's
young. Yeah, he's another one who's going to be 26 this offseason. So yeah, I want to cross that one off.
But not even cross that off, because he's one of those type of guys where he could probably come out and he could, like, if he does decently well at the Titans, like, I could see him coming out of free agency with like a 2-year, $20 million contract type thing, $10 million a year, where he really does have to prove himself type thing, which I think he can. I think the Chargers, I mean, what I've heard was he was a little disgruntled with Anthony Lynn, and they didn't really get along well. That's why he got shipped out for only like a 6th or 5th round pick. So I think if you can turn that around, because he's super talented and he's pretty young, I don't think you should cross it off the list because I think that's still a decent pick, and I don't think it's going to be that much.
And like another cornerback option from free agency that I was looking at, because I know the Seahawks have to re-sign Jamal Adams to that wonderful deal he wants. So Shaquille Griffin is another corner. I saw he's another one who's 26, solid man-to-man corner, has the speed to keep up with some of those players that we've seen blow the top off the Jets secondary last week. So I think he has the speed and athleticism to keep up with those like track star receivers. And then looking in the draft, 2 first-round selections I was looking at. Paul Adebayo out of Stanford.
Okay.
He was going to go out last year to the draft, but he decided to play one more year at Stanford. And he was in the top 3 for cornerbacks in his class. So I think he's one to look for. This year, he's not number 1. Patrick Surtain is, who's the other corner I have on my list. But I think he's going to go like top 15 for sure.
Those are solid dudes.
Yeah.
The thing is I don't know how much. I'm hoping with that Seahawks pick, we'll be able to get like a late round corner, like late first round corner, like one of those dudes.
Paul Adebayo might fall there, depending on how the other. Like we just started college football, anything can happen. But yeah, enough with defense though. On offense, I looked at running back, but then like I rather not waste a pick on running back this year, so I looked mainly at wide receiver and inside offensive line.
Okay, cool.
And for wide receiver, Allen Robinson's gonna be a free agency this year. He's 20. He's gonna be 28. The Bears and him, contract talks been silent. Like I'm talking dead silent. Like he said,
to the point where he was pretty disgruntled about it, right?
Mm-hmm. And he said something. The Bears were like, and then they were like, "Oh, we'll work," and he was like, "All right, whatever." And then, so we'll see how that unfolds with the Bears, because they are. I think they're 5-3, but I feel like they're a bad team disguised as a playoff team.
Agreed.
So we'll see how that unfolds. And another wide receiver who's going to be a free agent this year from Detroit, same division, Kenny Golladay. He's going to be 27 next year. He's a 6'4", speedy receiver, great hands, makes spectacular catches, would help out the offense tremendously, open up other play opportunities for some of our younger guys, and Jameson Crowder, because now he's going to be the new number 1 in New York. If the Lions don't, they can't. Well, in the offseason, they could sign and trade or some
they could do
BS like that. But we'll see what happens with that too.
I really like the Golladay pick. I mean, he's one of those types of guys where, I mean, you see it right now. He gets injured here and there, so that kind of hurts his value a little bit. So maybe we can get him on a cheaper type deal. I think Allen Robinson is going to cash out this offseason. Whether it's with the Bears, whether it's with the Giants, whether it's with he's going to cash out. So I think that's something to look at. But I really like the find for Kenny Golladay, because that's one of those guys who's a stud, sometimes gets hurt, but when he's on the field, he's lethal.
Yeah, and speaking of lethal, looking at the draft, there's a couple of lethal wide receivers this year. Mainly a lot of them out of Alabama and LSU, and that's where the 2 prospects I am looking at for the Jets to draft. Depending on where we fall these last 8 games, you never know. Knock on wood. I want the best situation for the team, but if we ended up with like a top 5 pick, one play or like a top 10 pick, and he's still on the board, one player I would easily consider is Jamar Chase at LSU. Jamar Chase is opted out this year at LSU, so he's not playing. Yeah.
Who the LSU is playing this year?
Yeah, but in 2019, he finished his sophomore season with 84 receptions for 1,780 yards and 20 touchdowns. And yeah, and pretty, you know what? Pretty insane.
The crazy thing is he was a number 2 to Justin Jefferson. So, well, not realistically. I would say Justin Jefferson was his number 2.
Yes,
because Jamar Chase was the top receiver in all of college football last year, and
he is again this year.
And he's getting this year, and he's not playing. But the fact is look at Justin Jefferson right now. He's the best rookie receiver, and he's arguably a top 5 receiver right now. The way he's balling.
LSU, they produce receivers.
That's their Justin Jefferson was their number 2. Think about that, and look what he's doing in the NFL. If Jamar Chase is the number 1, like. That's a different ball game.
If we do end up with the number 1, and we do, and win our ticket to the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes. And depending where the Seahawks fall, and depending what happens with this guy in Alabama, because he splits times with another number one, like, first-round talent receiver, Waddle, is Devontae Smith. Mm-hmm. I like Smith over... Is it Swaddle or Waddle? Waddle? Okay, I thought it was Jalen Waddle. I like Smith over Jalen Waddle because he's taller and he's bigger.
And he just, I mean, realistically, last year, you didn't see much of Jalen Waddle. You saw Devontae Smith.
And he was number 2.
Well, Devontae to Jerry Jeudy, but like last year, there was huge speculation that if Devontae Smith came out, he was gonna be right there with Jeudy, Ruggs, and Jefferson when it all came out, and CeeDee Lamb. He was right there with them.
He had pretty impressive numbers last year in Alabama. He finished with 68 catches for 1,256 yards and 14 touchdowns. He averaged 18.5 yards per catch,
which I'm pretty sure was at the top of college football. Mm-hmm. So I mean, we're talking about
last year also Jamar Chase averaged 21.2 yards per catch.
That's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying is like Devontae Smith was probably top 5 in yards per game, and Jamar Chase was like a little bit above him. And these dudes were 2 receivers, another receiver in the bunch. And Alabama and LSU. So
and I feel like that these 4 names would help us out tremendously.
That's the thing, tremendously. Like if we got a Jamar Chase or if we got a Devontae Smith, like that blows the top off the offense. That's something the Jets haven't had since who? Lavernius Coles, maybe? I don't know.
So we got after going over wide receivers, we needed to rebuild that front gate protecting whoever is our quarterback in 2021.
And I think I would say we're pretty solid at tackle.
We're at least left tackle.
And I'm not going to lie, if you look up George Fant's stats, he's been pretty solid this year. I would not say tackle is not a need for the New York Jets anymore.
No, it's not. And the one free agent that I caught my eye immediately was Brandon Shreve.
Oh, the guard from the
Washington. He's a Pro Bowl caliber guard. He was All Pro, I think, 1 year maybe if he's lucky. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure he's definitely Pro Bowl, but
he's a 3-time Pro Bowler, but he may be asking for a massive deal.
I don't think so. Massive, it's different. Offensive line guards don't get that anymore.
You gotta think it's Washington.
Well, I don't think he definitely is not going to go back to Washington.
No,
but I've been looking at him for a while, just like you have, and I think he's not. What is he? 29?
Yeah, he's going to be 29 next year.
Next year he'll be 29. I genuinely don't think he's looking for a Brandon Brooks contract. A huge contract, a huge guard contract. I don't think it's going to be like, I demand this. And if he is, he won't get it.
And if he does do that, I looked at some offensive line prospects in the draft. The 2 players that I would suggest are Trey Hill out of Georgia and Cade Mays out of Tennessee. Hill is a center who can line up as a guard and has proven his blocking skills against the low sack defenses playing at Georgia. And Mays is a 6'6" tackle who play and shows Mauler type play for the Vols. Yeah. May can line up at right tackle spot and form a mountain range on the O-line with Becton. And Mays also was a 5-star prospect in high school.
Did you see, what are their rankings like out of college right now? Are they going to go like...
They're going to be...
round-wise?
These 2 are top 5 in their class. I think Mays was 4th. Okay. Because he's a tackle.
Okay.
And, of course, Pinal.
Yeah, true.
Or Penal.
Hey, if that dude is available, I'll take that dude to play right there.
And if we're not number 1 and Lawrence is off the board.
Well, at that point, we might have to go Jamar Chase, but this Pinal kid is really good.
Yeah, that obviously that was but I took in mind we were getting a number 1 pick for this.
Yeah, if you get a number 1 pick, and then...
For wide receiver, I didn't take in mind, but obviously Pinal would be my number 1 choice if we didn't have the number 1 pick and we had the number 3.
Yeah, I think that becomes a completely different line because that's gonna be a tough decision to make down the road. But genuinely, I think if we're set at tackle, I think we'll be okay with tackle. But I really like that Sheriff guard pick from the offseason. I genuinely don't think he's going to ask for too much money. But I that could be like a solidify, because it's like one of those things where you plug in a guy like that, a Pro Bowler, he automatically makes everybody around you plug him in at right guard, he automatically makes McGovern better. He automatically makes Font better because that gap in the line is strong now. So he makes the dudes. It's like we always talk about a line. It's like they're all holding a rope, right? And like the line needs continuity. Every year the Jets talk about line continuity. Let's get the line together. Let's get them bulldozing. And the fact is like if you have that 1 weak link, which realistically Alex Lewis is not playing that well. Greg Van Vaten's got a little bit better. McGovern's playing okay, but right now, realistically, Lewis has kind of been that. I mean, he's had some shoulder issues, and he's kind of been out, which means Cam Clark and all these Josh Andrews, all these guys are playing, but that becomes that weak hole that you're missing. So that's the type of dude to plug in. Yeah. He's going to make everybody on the line who's like pretty good. Like right now, I would say Font, McGovern, and Van Roten are okay right now. Fant's probably the best right now. I mean, but Becton is gonna be a potentially all pro. That's out of the question.
He's disgusting.
But Font is playing really well. McGovern's improving. He's an okay center, and Van Roten's improving as well. Lewis has kind of been out, like I said, but Sheriff can plug that hole, and that offensive line is golden.
And I like. My favorite prospect that I talked about for offensive line was Cade Mays at Tennessee. He was a transfer to Tennessee.
Where did he go before that?
Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
And then he transferred from Georgia because Andrew Thomas was there. Hill was taking out the spot, but he was a guard that moved to tackle because he got huge.
Oh, so he grew in college, and that's why he went to tackle.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty scary. That's a pretty...
Yeah. And like a name like Cade Mays, you just sound like you don't want to. I would be terrified if I was in the trenches as a D end going up a guy or a D tackle going up a guy 6'6".
He sounds like a WWE.
Yeah, he sounds like
I mean that would.
And he's had Tennessee too, which is perfect. Down south, Cade Mays. It can't get more southern than that. Bring big country to New York.
We need more. That's what we need. We need freaking big country. That's what we need.
Yeah, we haven't had big country.
Big ticket, right? That's what we need. But I mean,
Cade Mays, if you ever come across this, please make your nickname Big Country.
Big Country, and we'll draft you. I promise. We'll work on it. I'll talk to Joe.
We'll start a petition.
But no, I really like. This offseason seems like it is gonna be filled. I mean, it always is.
I know. I did a book report on it.
But that's good. I mean, it shows that like what we have. I mean, we're gonna be loaded with cap. What's our cap room right now?
$52 million.
$52 million, and I'm sure
not including the dead cap too from Tremaine Johnson and all of them.
Well, that and then
that's good. We're gonna get that back next year.
Is that $52 million count with Avery Williamson's $8 million contract?
No, this does not. Yeah.
So we're in the upwards of $60 million right now.
Yeah.
And we haven't done anything but get some picks.
And we're getting a lot of money back when those dead cap penalties are done next year. Like
Tremaine Johnson.
I
don't ever want to hear that name
wasn't
ever
it,
again.
Wasn't it like the dead cap penalty like in like the 10 mil like upper?
I think it might have been like 11
I thought it was like
12.
I thought it was like 12 to 14 range.
Which is such a McCagnon move. Why is he giving Tremaine Johnson all that money? But whatever, that's another day. That's another day I never want to talk about. But, I mean, the offseason, it seems like it's going to be very, very exciting, and I'm looking forward to it. But, realistically, we got 8 more games to play. So, I mean, I just really, really... If you had one thing for the Jets that you personally want the Jets to improve on, what would that be? Besides everything. I know that's going to be everything. But no, like, you're watching... So the Jets have the Pats this week. So what are you watching for? What do you want to... You want to sit down. You know you're going to be disappointed. But you want to sit down and you want to say, I want to see... For me, I'll give you mine. For me, I want to see Darnold throw to Denzel Mims 5 times and it look like they have some sort of connection. That's one thing I want to take away from the New York Jets.
One thing personal to the Jets is to utilize your rookies. Play them now. 8 games left. You're 0-8. What are you gonna do with 0-8? The best you could do is 8-8. And in those 8 games, you play the Seahawks, the Rams, the Chargers, the Patriots twice. Who I think they're gonna beat us twice. The Dolphins is the only realistic game that we could win, but they're not even that bad.
Honestly, I feel like you have a better chance of beating the Pats.
They beat the Rams last week.
They didn't beat the Rams. They shit on the Rams last week.
The Rams defense went, not the Rams defense. The Dolphins defense went to town. I sat them over the Chiefs defense. Yeah, I regret it.
But I mean, realistically, a sane person would never do that. But
yeah, and then we played we played the Browns. Poppycock. Yeah, I don't think.
Realistically, it's not about, like, as a fan, you're just gonna get yourself disgruntled. You hear about all these people. Getting so wrapped up to fire gaze. Don't get yourself wrapped up into that. Like, there's no point. Adam Gase is the coach. Like, let him burn with the ship. Let him sink with the ship. Whatever you think it is. What you should be looking at as a Jet fan is you should be looking at Sam Darnold, the rookies, and honestly, you should be just hoping that nobody gets hurt. Because that's, like, the type of direction it's going in. But as a fan, for your mental health, for your mental everything, you have to go week to week thinking, like, I want the Jets to be better than last week. And that's hard. That's very hard.
Because they're doing the opposite.
They're doing the opposite. It's very hard. But if you take out the little things, you're like, oh, Sam did this. Oh, you did that. Like, every week, I do see the Jets making minor improvements. Minor improvements. Well, whether it's Dole Loggins getting the playbook and then playing better in the first half, that's the minor improvement. But next week, maybe I should see a better second half Jets team. You know?
Yeah.
But that's the type of things, like, you gotta look at as a Jets
More
fan.
Adjustments, please, for the love of Christ.
But we know at the end of the day, the adjustments and all that stuff is on.
At least just do the opposite of what you think you're going to do. You're going to throw yourself off and them off. Like, Jesus Christ, they throw us off half the plays they call.
I know. But, I mean, it's Jets football. This is nothing new to us.
Yeah.
This shouldn't be anything new to anybody else that's a Jets fan. You get it. Like, every day, when I turn on the radio, or when I turn on this, it's, the Jets stink, the Jets do. What do the Jets need to do next? All right, guess what? Like you did, you an off-season plan. Keep planning an off-season. Because that's what Joe Douglas is doing. Joe Douglas is... We're looking at picks. Guess what? Joe Douglas is looking at college football right now and saying, who am I going to get? Not this upcoming draft. Next year with that Jamal Adams pick. Ooh, who is that? You know, now the ball's in Joe Douglas's court. He got the picks. He traded away the stars. He got rid of the stars. He got rid of the disgruntledness of the Jets. That's what he's trying to do.
Yeah, your team's naked now. Buy some clothes.
So buy some clothes, but it's in Joe Douglas' court to, hey, I have the stock. I have the picks. Now it's my turn to turn them into stars. And what we've seen is Becton seems to be a star. Mims has potential. Perrine has potential. These dudes have potential, man. He's not throwing out Darren Lees, who literally, Darren Lee stepped on the field and we're like, what? How is this dude on the field? He was a first-round pick? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, these guys they don't have the McCagnon effect, where it's like, you're drafted, you're atrocious immediately. There's no other way about it. You're drafted, it's bad.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Jets fans, just focus on the future. Don't worry about what is saying in the media. Oh, Joe Douglas came out and said, Adam Gase may be a part of our future. Guess what? It's his boss. He has to say that. I'm sorry. You're not going to come out and completely badmouth your employee in front of anyone. It's a business. He's a professional. He's going to come out. He's not saying, Adam Gase is 100% going to be our coach next season. He's not saying that. He's going out there and tiptoeing around everything because it's New York media. They ask you every single question about every single person until your breath has run out.
Yeah, poor Sam Darnold sounds beaten up every time he's on the show.
Yeah, 100%. Sam Darnold seems... Because you know what? But that's the type of dude you want. That's it. Like,
Sam, if you need a friend, I have nothing to do after work. Hit me up. We'll hang out. We'll be buddies.
But you look at the Eli Manning effect. Eli Manning, no matter what happened, Eli Manning said, it's on me, blah, blah, blah. It's on me. This is it. That's how it's going to go. Sam, that's the type of stature you want in your locker room, you know? You don't want a GM to come out and be like, Adam Gase is atrocious. Even though we know that, we think that, and he might think that. One, Adam Gase may be his friend. And two, he's Adam Gase's boss. So you don't badmouth your employees and all that stuff.
Yeah.
In public,
on the air.
On the air. No, that's not what you do, because then it makes you look like the bad guy. You're like, oh no.
And then you get horns painted on you like Greg Williams did.
Seriously, because think about this. Say Joe Douglas comes out and he says, Adam Gase is not doing that good of a job. We need to have improvement, blah, blah, blah. Then all of a sudden, the narrative turns back onto Joe Douglas because you're pointing fingers at Gase, but Joe Douglas knows he didn't do enough to build talent around around Sam Darnold and the Jets team. So immediately then fingers get pointed, and then it turns into a big finger pointing game. Or he can humble himself right now and say, hey guys, we're looking at the next 8 games. We think this guy can be the future, but we're going to see. So that's what you got to ride with Joe Douglas, man. Ride with it and take everything with a grain of salt, because what we know about Joe Douglas right now is that he can hit on draft picks.
Yeah.
That's what we know. Not all of his draft picks, but he can hit on some. Unlike McCagnon didn't hit on...
Wait, you just reminded me of something I want to mention. One draft pick that Joe Douglas made that I want to see playing immediately when he's back. Bryce Hall.
Bryce Hall, 100%.
That was the biggest steal of the draft.
I genuinely feel like that was
He was a first-round corner coming in, but then got injured, and he fell to the 5th round.
See, that's the type of thing. But I think Joe is sitting here saying, hey, Bryce, you do whatever you need to do to get your body to 110%, and then maybe I'll let you step on the practice field. I'm not letting you, my ankle is feeling good, maybe not 100, let me get on the practice. No. You're going to be 1,000%, and I'm going to have you healthy, and I know you're a star. Let's make sure you're good for the future.
Okay, yeah.
So that's the type of mentality Joe has. And it's like, he wants his guys to succeed, and it seems like his guys are succeeding when they can. You don't see Mims dropping passes. You don't see Perine missing wide open holes.
No, he only has 10 targets, and he caught 6 of them.
And honestly, when you look at some of those 4 targets that didn't go to him, it's not his fault. I'm telling you that. So I mean, Jets fans, just think about it. We're in the hands of Dole Loggins now, baby. I can't believe I said that.
I think that's a good note to end on.
Dole Loggins.
Yeah.
All right, thank you guys. Check out our Twitter at _very_long. Hit us up. We're here to answer any questions. And I think it's gonna be okay. I think you're gonna see the Jets be more competitive this week against the diminished Patriots. What do you think?
I think so. I at least hope we get a touchdown.
I think it's going to be a little bit more competitive. You're going to see Cam Newton get a little... I mean, they're one-dimensional.
I don't know. Cam Newton could look like an all-pro.
He could, but he's one-dimensional.
That's true.
So, I mean, remember, just go with it. Dole Loggins is better than Adam Gase, so have some positivity there.
All right, guys. Like Tyler said, you can follow us on Twitter. You can check out our episodes on Spotify. Also, previous episodes that are not on Spotify, you can check out on our YouTube channel. It's the same as our Spotify. Third and very long. And the end is an end sign just so you don't get lost or thrown off. But thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you guys talk to you guys next time.
Yep. Peace, guys.